Prepare yourself for List Off, the gaming podcast where your hosts, Brian and Ryan, rank the things they love. 3, 2, 1, List Off!
Welcome to List Off, where we categorize video games into bite-sized lists. We'd like to take a moment to thank our patrons, Kayla Jackson, Rick Firestone, Mark Evans, Dave Jackson, Eric Guess, Keith Gasper, Brian Van Halen, Chris Nelson, Matt aka Stormageddon, Chris Copleen, Low5 Alex, Marissa and Chris Constant, Kathy, Mast Keaton, Janelle, and JD. If you'd like to support us, join the Patreon. Tiers start at $1. I say those names exactly the same every single week that we do this. Is that accurate, Ryan?
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I try. There needs to be no differentiation ever. But
Would
Ryan,
it throw you off if I switched them up?
it would. It would not go well. I would mix up people's names all together. First names, last names. It would all just be a jumbled mess.
See you in 4 weeks, buddy.
Maybe do that. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm okay. How are you?
Good. I'm good. We are not alone.
Why not?
We have been doing these guest podcasts for quite some time now, and this week is no different because we are welcoming once again John from the Video Game Lounge. John, how are you?
I'm doing all right, man. Thank you guys so much for inviting me back. I have to be here. I think last time I was on, Ryan, we did snuff out that Brian is, in fact, Brian Van Halen. Does anyone else remember this?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's something I go through weekly.
I'm paying for my own Patreon.
Yeah. It's the infinite money glitch.
Yeah. That's true. Never thought about that, and I should do that. I'm pretty sure I know who that is, and I'm actually positive I know who it is. It's
just
not
dox
me.
him, dude. Just say it out loud. Dox him. Tell me his address.
Yeah. No,
or their
I will
address. I don't know.
I'm not going to.
Yeah,
absolutely fair. Not.
That's
Privacy
fair.
is my utmost concern here.
Are you on Facebook, Brian?
Well, yeah. I mean, all the information's out there.
Gotcha there, buddy. All right, 2025. It's all about those gotchas.
Listen, I was peer pressured when Facebook was first created to get one by my original college roommate. So that's just the way it went.
Why ever get rid of it?
Yeah. Anyway, John, tell us a little bit about what you do, because I know that's we know, but it's good to get a recap.
Yeah, so I am half of the host of the Video Game Lounge. I reopened the doors to the lounge back in October. We are now kind of a list-based podcast, but as of recently, we are doing weekly discussions and reactions to The Last of Us Season 2 television show. So if you want to get our thoughts on each episode after it airs, look for those episodes on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. Just kind of whenever they release. And then after that, we have scheduled what we call open up a 40, because we're the Video Game Lounge. It's beer and video games kind of mixed together. We're going to be
technically a 40 is malt liquor.
Okay, technically. I know. But we're going to be opening a 40 on all things Andor Season 2. So we were trying to see if we can make it work doing both shows in a week, but when Last of Us, I think it was after the first episode aired, Disney was like, "Oh, here is an entire block of episodes for Andor, all about 3 episodes at one time," which I like, but it was just too much to try and do 2 podcasts in a week with editing and everything. But if you're interested in what we have to say about Andor or The Last of Us, please check us out. You can find us wherever you find List Off.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. I have not started season 2 of The Last of Us.
Shame.
I know. Or season 2 of Andor.
I watched 1 episode of Last of Us, and I think I just need to wait for the whole thing to release at this point. And then Andor, I haven't started that. I love the first season. So are they doing it in like 3 episode chunks kind of thing?
Yeah. So at the time of this
That's
recording, this coming up Wednesday, is the final three episodes. And so each block takes place over a year, And so I like that they're doing it this way, because there's so many things that happen in a singular episode that if you were to wait a week for the next one, you'd kind of forget half the stuff that's going on. So the fact that each block now is released together, I think makes more sense for the story. And it's really good. Really, really good.
I will.
I'm enjoying my time
So
with it.
my expectations for Andor season 2 were through the roof, but tempered because it's Disney, and like as soon as they get something that people like, they tend to Disneyfy it, right? And I feel like Andor was like a good television show with or without the Star Wars label, and with or without the Disney label. Like it is just a good television show, and I was really fearful that season 2 wouldn't end up as good as season 1 was, but it actually got better reviews. So I am extremely hopeful for season 2.
Yeah. Yeah. This last set of 3 episodes was absolute peak Star Wars. By the time you listen to this, it's already been out, but yeah, it was really good. And some of the interviews that I've seen with Tony Gilroy, who also, wrote for Rogue One and the Bourne trilogy as well. So just like everything spy networks and that type of stuff is his bag.
Mm-hmm.
But he came into Star Wars not really being a fan, but he's paid so close attention to details in storytelling from like Rebels and A New Hope and like the original trilogy, and has tied so many things back, which I enjoy. Like he's really stayed true to a lot of source material and added to it as well. And like, it just give me more, man. They're saying that this next batch of episodes will lead directly into Rogue One, so I have a very long
cool
Wednesday ahead of me.
right.
That's awesome. It seems like a good way to do the breaking up of the episodes too, because you get the people who want to binge, and then they get this like weekly talk of, you want to be in everyone's mind for as long as you can. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we're all done with the Star Wars talk, and we will go into what we're really here for, which is another Disney property, which is Marvel and Marvel Snap specifically. We're going to be talking about our favorite cards that exist in that game, of which it's been a while since I've played. I want to be perfectly honest, so my information is a little outdated. But
I did message you, and I was like, you need to get back into Marvel Snap, and they just overhauled like the card acquisition, the way it's done, and it's much better now. Like you kind of have an idea of what you're getting. If you have, if you want season 3, like you could choose from that pool. If you want season 4, you could choose from that pool. I would recommend always choosing 4 or 5 if you have any holes in season 3, or what is it? Not season 3. What's it called? Series 3, which you would at this point have holes in, Brian, because you'll acquire those through grading up your collection level, right?
Yeah.
But I still play Marvel Snap all the time. I don't talk about it much on the show, but I am playing it daily. When John selected this list, I was like waiting for somebody to pick this. And I was so happy that it got picked, because I feel like I have a pretty unique group of my favorite cards. I don't feel like it's the meta. I don't feel like it's the cards everybody tends to like rush for. Like these are my favorites because situationally they have been extremely good for me for the history that I've been playing Marvel Snap, like from day one. They might not be as strong as they once were, but like these cards came in clutch for me more times than not. And that's why they're on my list. But man, I'm so psyched for this list, dude.
Very good.
I mean, awesome. Like, look, I don't play many games for 3+ years, right?
Sure.
Like nobody does. I'm not a Fortnite guy. I'm not a Minecraft guy. Like Marvel Snap's been out for like 3 years now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the last time. Yeah. And I did take a break from it, but like I don't play games for 3 years, like even off and on. Yeah, I don't revisit a lot of games. So Marvel Snap has definitely done a good job of holding my interest.
Yeah.
Even though there was like a pretty long gap somewhere in those 3 years, but
right. Yeah. That's when you were playing Midnight Suns.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yes, we will tell all of our favorite cards. We got 5 each. We're going to start with you, John. So why don't you tell us what your fifth favorite Marvel Snap card would be.
All right. So I'll definitely know when he listens to this. Andrew from Your Friendly Neighborhood Gamers. This is one of his favorite cards as well. And this card is basically the vanilla ice cream of Marvel Snap cards. It's just solid. And it's actually gotten a power buff in the last couple of months or so. But I'm going with tried and true Sarah. And so Sarah is a 5-cost, 5-power card. She has an ongoing ability, so it's something that's always there. Cards in your hand cost 1 less. So it's a very powerful turn 5 card where, if you're playing a surfer deck or something, you can play now 3-cost cards because now they're all been reduced to 2. Or you can just, it allows you to have a really big turn 6 swing. And they haven't really changed her much since the beginning, other than they put a small, debuff in there where it's a minimum of 1 cost. So you used to be able to play like 1-cost cards for 0, but now the lowest a card can be is 1. So Sarah, she just fits in so many different archetypes, and she's such a fun card to play if you can get her out early and just keep reducing the cost of your cards to play. So it's a plain Jane card, but I throw her in a lot of decks. She's a very fun card. So Sarah is my number 5.
Yeah, I would not say it's a plain Jane card at all. I think this is a great pick.
Really? Okay.
It will be on my honorable mentions. Did not make my top 5, but the fact that she's a 5/5 now, you could always use like Psylocke to get her out a turn early or something like that. Like there are ways to get Sarah out on turn 4, and it just boosts her value like even more. But the fact that you can make every card in your hand cost 1 less, even if you're sitting on like an Iron Man and a decent 2-cost card, like that could sway the entire turn 6, And like you said, with the surfer deck, like I feel like that's what Sarah tends to pair with most. It's a turn 6 that is difficult to see coming, difficult to defend against, and just can change the entire course of the match. Sarah's in a lot of different decks. Sarah works too. It's not like there's one archetype where Sarah fits in, and like that's the only time she's effective. Like Sarah is a very effective card across the board.
Yeah, man,
it's a great pick.
Nice.
Thank you.
Brian's like, I don't know who that is.
No, I definitely had Sarah. That was one of the ones that I like.
Brian's like smiling and nodding.
Yeah,
Sarah.
I do remember that one. I do.
Yeah, it looks like a Triceratops kind of. Yeah, no. Sarah. Yeah,
it's that lady. I actually have no idea.
She's an OG card.
Like from.
Yeah. She's from comics, Marvel Comics.
Oh, okay.
Just kidding.
She got her own comic or something?
No, she doesn't actually. Okay. I don't know if she ever has.
Is she part of the Fantastic Four?
She's the 5th member.
Okay.
Yeah.
the
silent member.
The lesser well known.
Yeah. It's like that retcon where they're like, what do you mean? She's always been here. Right? Like when they add new characters and they're like, oh no, everybody just forgot them.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan. With that,
that's right. It's my turn. I'm really bad when I'm not host. So my number 5 is a card that was. It's still a lot of fun to play this archetype, and it was my favorite archetype for quite some time. I got to Infinite with it, and I think it was only the second time I had reached Infinite. And it's of course Arishem. Arishem is a 7-cost, 7-power card, and his text reads, I mean, he's a Celestial, so I don't know if you could gender a Celestial, but their text reads, game start, shuffle 12 new cards into your deck, and it currently says on turn 3, you get +1 max energy. So for turns 3, 4, 5, and 6, you're getting 1 extra energy for those turns. So 4, 5, 6, and 7, right? And the reason I enjoy this card so much is because you can streamline some of your deck to kind of make it like a pseudo control deck. Or you could do it like now they have Agamotto, and you could run him in your deck to kind of get a lot of his cards out early. But it used to be +1 energy every
from
turn.
The beginning. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which was nuts. Like that was so overpowered. And yes, like you get a lot of random cards shuffled in your deck. So when you go up against things like Dark Hawk or Ronin, it's difficult because you're always going to have those cards in your deck. But you could just pack an Enchantress in there, and you might draw the Enchantress. With 12 extra cards in your deck, you very well might not, but you're going to be able to put out power regardless. Like, you're going to be able to produce heavy hitters across the board, turns 4, 5, and 6. Like, if some of those random cards added to your deck are 10 plus power, or some of the cards you put in your constructed portion of the deck are 10 plus power, you're going to get to play them. And like, those are big cards to play. So it's fun to like
random cards.
Yeah, random
Wow, okay.
cards.
Yeah, it's
So the
always
cool
random.
thing about
Yeah.
Erisham that I always enjoyed too is like when I wasn't getting cards, like the Spider-Man symbiote, right? Symbiote Spider-Man. Like there were a few that like I didn't get with my keys when they were having that system to acquire new cards, my spotlight keys. They'd still show up in my Erisham deck sometimes, and I'd still get to like play them and see how they're used. So I also like it for that purpose.
Yeah.
Like every once in a while, you'll randomly get a card you don't own and get to use it, and that's a lot of fun. But it's also just that you get to play the cards, and you have to really try to create a strategy on the fly. It's a card that I think forces you to truly understand and be good at Marvel Snap because of the random effect. Like you don't know what you're going to get, but you have to work with it. So when you could pull off these crazy combos that you would like never get in a constructed deck, but you're like, oh, wait a minute, like that card actually kind of works with that one. And if I do those two, I could pull this third one out and play it. And you just start constructing things that like, a lot of the decks in Marvel Snap tend to be auto created, or they tend to be something that people on social media are saying work well together. And Erisham really offers you the freedom of using all the cards and figuring out how combinations you never once thought would be successful can really, like, when paired together, turn out really favorable for you. So
it gives you the element of surprise too if people don't know what to
absolutely
expect.
Yeah, people do not know how to defend an Erisham deck most of the time. So another benefit of the card. I love Erisham. I think he's like one of the coolest cards in the game, and that's my number 5.
Cool.
Yeah.
That one was not
cool.
available when I played, so cool to hear about.
Yeah. It's no two Erisham games are the same because the 12 cards rotate in and out every time you play, and so it's a completely random game each time, which is pretty fun. I don't have Erisham, but I've gotten to play him a few times just because of like locations that give you cards or something like that, and it's been a fun archetype for sure. I like
a lot of the cards.
defending
Sorry,
it
go ahead.
too. Oh no, I was just gonna say
Yeah.
I love defending it with like Darkhawk or a Cassandra
Right.
Nova who will take 1 power away from all the cards. It's like,
as soon as someone plays Cassandra Nova and she's like all of a sudden a 326 power card, it's like, oh, like that hurts. That really hurts. You're like, I just give up,
yeah, here's your cubes.
But I yeah, exactly. I just like that you have to try when you have Erisham too. You really have to piece together strategies, and like that always felt cool when you pulled it off. Like it always felt like, oh, like I can't believe I pulled that off. Like these cards work together and they have this like tangential synergy that just worked in that situation with the locations that were in play, and like, oh, it's always such a cool feeling.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. I wanted to ask, is Ben Brode still doing the videos every season to like introduce everything?
John might have more information on that. I'm
I
kind of like,
seen him in
I'm
minute.
in the app. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, okay.
I haven't seen him in a while, but like
I would wait for those videos when the next season would roll around because they were so well put together and it was exciting to see what the theme was and everything.
Yeah, some of the animations on those are really, really cool. And he's always an entertaining personality to watch. But I've always kind of been like, I'm in the app and they advertise what the next season is. And I'm like, okay, now I know what it is. And then I've never really been like I'm going to watch a YouTube video about what the best deck is and its win rate. And like I'll do that every once in a while, but I typically just kind of like live in the app itself,
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, getting to my number 5. This one definitely changed, but Leader is a fun card for me.
Wow.
What?
Oh
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Is he no good anymore?
Um,
Or is he
I think
irritating?
I think he did change. He used to do whatever card you played, right? He
Yeah.
would
So
bring to
yeah,
your side whatever card the
currently
opponent played.
currently it says on reveal, copy the enemy cards with the highest power played this turn, but on your side. And yeah, previously when I was playing, it was just whatever they play, you put on your side as well. But it sounds like they just
Yeah.
do, if there's a 5 cost, then it does that. But if there's multiple 5 costs, it'll do all those, but nothing else.
Yeah,
So
leader was a headache.
yeah.
Leader was a headache for
what
sure.
was it? Leader and Leech together was some really
Oh,
annoying
yeah.
combo, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But I think I really liked this card because I had a really fun art that went along with it. It was just a very highly detailed version of him in like the chair. So yeah, that was I always like playing that card.
I do like the variants when you start getting into the variants of the card. I
Yes.
Yeah.
didn't think that cosmetics would matter, but like as soon as you
This
see
is
some
where it
of like
matters
the
most.
yeah, it's like the artwork is so cool and they have so many inspirations to draw from, right? They could literally draw from the page of any comic for any of these characters, and they do. And
Mhm.
I really love the artwork in this game, like across the board. It wows.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
makes you want a physical version of it, which is impossible, but
Right.
still would be really cool.
Yeah, Leader's interesting. Leader was a headache before the nerf. Like he was
Yes.
a monster to play against because it was like no matter most deck archetypes, especially during that time, relied on turn 6, and
Mhm.
Leader was
Yeah.
just like, no. Like if I'm already ahead, there's no way I'm getting behind.
Nice.
And yeah, it was tough. It was tough to play against, but they
Such
nerfed
an
him a little
unfair
bit. What's that?
I said it was such an unfair card. There was no defense against it.
Yeah. Unless you
Well, I
had
think-
Cosmo, but even then you
Yeah.
would have to get the read on turn 6 of where Leader was being played. Because if he knew
Yeah.
Cosmo was already somewhere, like he's not going to play Leader there,
No. And I want to say at one point they had changed it to be, it has to be in the lane that you played it. So it sounds
Yeah.
like they've messed around with it a bunch at this point.
Yeah. That was that's like, hey, nobody's ever going to play this card now.
Correct. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that stopped me from using him at that point.
Yeah.
He used to be higher power too. I think he started out as like a 6'7" or a 6'6" or something too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
that's
he's
right.
been-
God, what a menace.
They nerfed him down to like a 6'2", and now he's back up to
Wow.
a 6'4". Like
6'4",
he's
yeah.
been reworked like 4 or 5 times. Yeah.
Wow.
Dude is a menace for sure.
Nice.
He's really fun to play
John Wick.
in Ryan's favorite game mode, high voltage. Like he's good to put in a high voltage deck.
Oh, that's
where you
true.
get
That's
a
a
bunch
good
of extra
idea.
energy, and you draw 2 cards a turn. Like he's really fun
Yeah.
to play there. So
I love the vanilla
Um,
Marvel Snap, but when they do the Sanctum and when they do high voltage, it is like it's cool. It's just those cool little
Yeah.
variations on the game. Yeah.
yeah. All right. So my number 5 is a semi-recent card from about 5-6 months ago, but I didn't actually get her until about 2 months ago in like a spotlight cache, I think, or maybe I got her from the token shop. But Ryan, I know you are a fan of buff decks, and this card I've thrown into a bunch of mine, but it's not Galactus, it's his daughter, Galacta.
Yeah, that's a good
So,
card. I was wondering if it was
um,
going to be Gwenpool or Galacta. I wasn't sure.
Yeah. It's one of the G's. So Galacta is a 4/5, and so each turn she just has a static ability. Each turn, the first card you play at another location reveals with +3 power. So you can play a card like Zabu on turn 1, which discounts all your 4-cost cards. Get her out on turn 3, and then every card you play in a different location other than her spawns with +3 power. So she's really powerful in like a Surfer deck with like Sebastian Shaw, who gains an additional 2 power anytime he gains power. Really fun with like Kitty Pryde, who gains a power every time she's played and comes back to your hand and give her more power. And then my favorite combo with her is to play with Iron Man, because Iron Man doubles the power of all your cards in a lane. And then if you can bump him up or buff him up it just makes that lane more powerful. So Galacta has been a really fun card for me to play in just the recent like month and a half, 2 months or so, just because get her down and she's buffing whatever the first card you play somewhere else is. So Galacta is my number 4.
It's a great pick. I have a deck with Galacta, Fastos, Gwenpool, and Sinister, Mr. Sinister, and Brood. So what happens is if I could get Fastos out on 3, and then like you get Galacta out, and then you get Gwenpool out, and if you have like Sinister and Brood in your hand and you play them, it's like the Brood spreads out at whatever power they are. So if you have Gwenpool who powered them up, they might already be like a 3/6. And then if Galacta hits them, they're a 3/9, and they're actually 3 9-power cards now. And you could do the same thing with Sinister and make him like 2 of whatever power he gets buffed up to. It's like buff decks are nuts. They have the potential with the right combinations to just go like ham.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Do they still, like the powers, do they still match the characters pretty well? Because that was one of the big things in the beginning.
I mean, Galacta, she's not really, like, I think she's a Marvel Rivals mostly, right? Like, I think she was in some comic books, but, like, I don't know enough about her to know if she follows suit, but I feel like they've gotten away from that a little bit because
it must be hard.
Of cards. Yeah. I feel like they still try, like the effort is there, but I don't think it's done as well as it used to be done.
Sure.
You know, like you got a character like Gwenpool who will randomly buff cards in your hand, and it's like, well, Gwenpool kind of does what Deadpool does, like, you know? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, when Spider-Man first, he was one of the original cards. He used to make it so that you couldn't play a card in that location the next turn. Now they've actually made it where, he will move a card, swing a card to another location, which is more in line with like, what Spider-Man does. So yeah, there's some cards that play into their abilities, but some don't.
They made it work because he would like web that area. So it's like, okay, cool. Well, that's off limits.
That was annoying as all get out, though, wasn't it?
Especially with the Galactus deck. Oh, man. Get the hell out of here with that.
Now they just have a Negasonic Teenage Warhead who just like blows you up if you play there, which is also fun. So my number 4 is the Bane. The Bane of John's buff deck.
I think that's
the
DC.
Bane. No. It's not the Bane. It's not Bane. He's also can be the Bane of move decks. He could be the Bane of Batman. No, I'm kidding. He could be the Bane of God. What's the Sunspot? Right. I wish there was more uses for this card, but there is nothing that compares to throwing out Shadow King on turn 6 and completely changing like a turf, a location that the opponent thought they had on lockdown. Like I love in buff decks when the opponent's just like, oh, I got that. I galacted to Brood. Like that thing is locked up. These are like, they're not going to take that. They have no cards there. And then you just do a turn 6, like Shadow King to bring them all back down to 2 to whatever, like a Maximus, right? Which is like a 2/6 and you just won that. Like you just won that and they just don't see it coming and you still get another card because those are 2 cost cards. But a lot of the cards I have chosen, especially my number 1, are just those cards that you can pull out and like it frustrates your opponent because when it's used on you, you know that feeling all too well. And I know Shadow King is not high on a lot of people's favorites, but what I love about it is that when you play him and it just wipes out what the opponent had so carefully built, there are few feelings as good as that, And I think this, like a lot of the cards I picked are all about feelings, and like I'm not like it is though. Like, come on, when you play this game, it's a very tactile thing, and it's a good feeling when you're the one doing those gotchas. It's a bad feeling when you're the one receiving those gotchas, and then somebody like, and then somebody Miss Marvel thumbs up you, and you're like, oh, come on, bro, like I've been playing too long to get tilted about that, I just think like these cards are clutch. Like Shadow King is just so clutch, and I wish, like I said, I wish there were more decks that he worked against. He is useless against some decks, but like if the person gets buffed from an ongoing, he's not going to have an effect on that. But
Yeah.
the right situation, like pulling out Shadow King, is it's just that feeling of like whoosh, and it's like the animation and the sound effect that goes with it. And just to watch everything the opponent built disappear is like, oh, heck yeah, gotcha, sucker. You know, yeah. So
That
that's
seems
my number
annoying.
4, Shadow King. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny. I
That's a
don't
good
use
pick.
this card a lot, but I
Yeah.
associate it with the good feelings when I did use it. You know,
Right. Yeah, like you said,
Biggest
though, it
dopamine hit
doesn't
for
work.
Shadow.
It doesn't work against something like a Mobius or a Null or something that has an on like its power is an ongoing thing. But yeah, when it's a card that has been buffed, yeah, Shadow King is clutch. I've been Shadow Kinged a fair amount of times, and it's quite annoying when it happens.
it is. I love it. I love it.
Sweet. I think you've used that on me before, Ryan, and not fun.
I think when we were doing the tournaments, right, I had like a control deck that he was in, and it's like, oh.
Yeah. At a certain point, I hit a wall. I was like, oh man, y'all have this figured out, and I am not going to progress here.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard too, because like even now, it doesn't really matter what deck I play because I don't have the current meta and I don't plan on getting it. And it's like if that's what I'm put up against, I'm just going to lose.
Right.
So it does get times like these are tough.
Yeah. All right, my number 4 card. This one, this is not one that I regularly would use, but it is very annoying, and that is Debris, because she just will junk up the lanes.
I love this pick. I love junk decks, dude. I love junk decks. Keep going. Preach,
junk
brother.
decks are awesome.
Because I love junk decks.
So yeah, on reveal, add a rock to each other location for both players, and if you have a way to deal with it on your side, then it's nice. But yeah, I would use this one and just like fill up their lane with garbage. I feel like I can't remember now, but there were ways to like copy more rocks into their area, or just have her reveal click again while you have like a lane filled up on your own side. So there were a lot of good uses on that. But yeah, another really frustrating, I can't put anything out, this is ridiculous kind of card.
Yeah, junk is an archetype that you don't see as often now, but there was a time where you'd like Debris, Green Goblin, Hobgoblin, just like stack their side with all these, Viper, what was it? The Hood to Viper, and like, it was a beautiful time in the game because, and I'm saying that as somebody who is mostly on the receiving end of that, and it is one of the most frustrating decks to play against because you can't win. Like if they get the right order of cards, like you're done. You don't even have room to play.
Yep. Well, it briefly came back like 2 months ago with the release of Gorgon, who would any card that you produced that went into your opponent's hand. So if you use like Master Mold, that would give your opponent 2 Sentinels. They normally cost 2 cost, but with Gorgon out on the board, his ongoing ability gives any like new cards produced into your opponent's hand cost an additional energy. So those Sentinels now become 3, and so junk kind of came back a little bit in the form of like junking your opponent's hand, and it was quite fun for a while. So like Gorgon was really good against your Airsham decks for a minute. Yeah.
Yeah. I could see it being good like Wong to Gorgon to like, or Gorgon to Wong to Master Mold, and it's like, oh, you can't play any cards now except for 3 cost Sentinels, right? And whatever you happen to draw in your hand prior to that, because your hand's full, and it's going to remain full because Sentinels come right back to your hand. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. I missed that meta, but that would have been fun to play with. I always think, right? Like, I bet you guys do too when you're playing, like, what's my opponent's reaction to this? When you have those good plays, like, I wonder what they're thinking right now,
Yeah.
You can always tell when people are frustrated because they emote. I feel like if you're not frustrated, if
Oh,
you're
yeah.
just like trying to get, cubes and like trying to go up the ranks, like you're not emoting. You're like, okay, on to the next one. Like, let's keep rolling.
Yeah.
But if people are taking the time to emote, they're like, their heart was in it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Or their heart was crushed.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So moving on, my number 3, I absolutely love this archetype. We've already kind of mentioned this archetype a little bit, ongoing cards. There are a bunch of positive ongoing cards, but there are some negative ongoing cards. So you'll have a card like Starbrand, that's a 3 power or 3 cost 10 power that gives 3 power to your opponent's other locations, or a Typhoid Mary, who is a 4/10 card that subtracts a power from every other card there. But there's this cool little dragon guy named Sauron that's a 2 cost 2/2 that takes away all ongoing effects of your deck and basically gets to unleash the power of your card. So something like a Red Skull that's a 5/14, his ongoing is give all other enemy cards +2 power. Well, guess what? Now you just got a 5/14 there and no negative effects. So putting him into a deck that takes away all the negative ongoings has been really fun, because you just get a shit ton of really big cards, and it's such a fun archetype to play. And you don't have to worry necessarily about something like a Shang-Chi, because you just got buku power on all 3 locations because of this card. So Sauron is my number 3.
Yeah, I like that. I like that he does it for your hand and your deck. I feel like a lot of cards, when they have effects, it's like, oh, in your hand or oh, in your deck. It's like one or the other. But Sauron's a card that actually affects both, and that's cool, because if you have the right draw, like, it sucks when you have some other cards that only affect your deck. Like a Koye or things like that, and you're like, man, I got the right card for that in my hand. And I can't get the benefit because I already drew it. But I like that Sauron's just like, no, dude, like you're good. I got you.
Yeah,
You got the
I
card.
got you.
You got the
Yep.
card somewhere in there. I got you. Don't worry about it. Except he
Yeah.
probably says it in dinosaur language.
Yeah. Brian, how would he say that?
In
Yeah.
dinosaur language?
Yes, Brian.
Yeah.
He's
Not to
like
put
a
you on the
pterodactyl
spot,
guy, right?
Not to- Oh, that was surprisingly good.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good.
I know. I would not be able to do that. It's a good pick, Sauron. It is a good pick.
Or he would say something like, "You have no." Wait, no, that's not the right character.
What is it? Oh,
I was trying to think of a Lord of the Rings Sauron quote, but nothing was coming to mind.
Yeah. Geez. He's like,
Also, I have to always remind myself Sauron and Sauron. Sauron's the eye, right?
he's the eye, so he's like,
Okay.
I see
So,
you.
Could
Could you imagine?
The same thing as Sauron the dinosaur, then.
I feel like if Lord of the Rings came out in 2025, that is what they would do. They'd make Sauron go like, I see you. Because that's how dumb movies have gotten, right?
Aw.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, in general, just a generalization, just keeping things general,
Yeah. Movies suck.
Yeah, for sure. So I actually saw the Thunderbolts this last weekend, and guess what?
Was it good or bad? It was
Chicken
bad.
butt. No, it was good. It was good.
Good.
All right.
I haven't seen that Captain America movie yet. Is that one good?
It is good. Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was good.
Check it out.
I don't. It's not the best. I would definitely say Thunderbolts was better than the Captain America.
Thunderbolts
movie. The
is
Captain
better.
America movie
Yeah.
was fine. Yeah. So my number 3, right? It's an archetype. It's in an archetype that I've been playing lately, but it's also in an archetype that got me to my first infinite rank, and it's Gladiator. Just kidding, it's not Gladiator. Even though I do want to shout out Gladiator, because Gladiator is tough as all get out, like a 3/8, and he blasts the opponent's card. Because if worse comes to worse, and you pull a card that's stronger, like, hey, he's at least you know what you're probably up against, and their strongest card's probably already out. So anyway, it's not Gladiator. It's Cable. It's actually Cable.
Cable?
I know.
I respect
That's the
it.
reaction I expected. That's the reaction I expected. Cable? Are
It's
you
like the
for
first
real?
card you get.
It is. It's one of the first cards you get, and I absolutely, like, from day one, have loved Cable. And it works well in a lot of different archetypes, right? Like the Gladiator archetype is like a deck thinner. Works really well in that.
A mill
the
deck.
best, the best part of Cable is that it's informative. That is like my favorite part of Cable.
Yeah.
If
true.
I draw a Wolverine, I'm like, okay, I know what I'm playing against.
Mhm.
You know, if I draw like a Morbius, I know what I'm playing against. Like, there's always those tells, and it's on turn 2. And sometimes your opponent hasn't even played a card yet, and you're like, all right, now I could game plan because you got that read on what they're playing as. Yeah, there's always a chance that they have like an Airisham deck and you're just pulling a random card out. But chances are it's going to be informative because more often than not, people are playing a very specific type of deck in this. They're meta chasing, right? Now, I was going to put Cable on here because for the longest time, I had a Devil Dino deck, and that was like my favorite deck to play in. It was the first deck that got me to Infinite, and Cable was a big part of that. But it works so well in the mill deck, you called it. Is that what it is? A mill deck?
Yeah. Just
It
using
works so well in
terminology
that.
from Magic the Gathering.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna call it a deck thinner because it like saps your opponent's deck. But anyway, the reason it works well in that, especially today, and I only figured this out this week, so I'm like very excited to share it. So Surge Surfer is like a huge thing happening right now, and what Surge does is on turn 2, she will give +2 power to the top card of your deck. And when you play that card, it like carries that +2 power forward, right? Yeah. So the next card in your deck will get +2. Well, guess what I have done like 4 times this week because of it. I have pulled the card Surge Powers Up. And then when I use it, it has that effect on my deck, not the opponent's, which is like so cool. I did not expect this. But it's like a hidden use for Cable that I put Cable on this list without even knowing that. But now it's like, oh man, with the current meta, with like this whole Surge Surfer, I could pull their Surge card and just make it work for me. And I love that. I absolutely love that. But I did say this was all about feelings, and Cable is one of those cards to me that when you just, it's like the animation that goes with it. It's the sound effects. Like I love these cards that have so like good special animations, you know, and you just kind of like, it shows the deck come up and it shows this like a little time slide where you grab the top deck of the card. It's so well done, and it's such a good feeling, and like you could learn so much. And I just think Cable is an extremely underrated card. And I mean, I gave the caveat, my list is going to be my list and not anybody else's. I'm not meta chasing here. I have always loved Cable. And I like the comic book character too. He's not one of my favorite, but like he's still pretty cool, you know?
Cable's a solid pick because it's one of the first cards you get like within the game, and it's like you said, it is very informative. You can normally try to pick up on what type of archetype or deck type that your opponent's playing. Any type of cards like that are very fun to play. Like I remember when Yondu first came out, and it would just destroy the top card of an opponent's deck, and be like, okay, cool, I just destroyed a Wolverine, so I'm probably working with a destroy deck or something. Or what was another card?
Well, I feel like Cable doesn't have the downside. I feel like Cable, because it used to be, now Yondu has less downside now, but Yondu used to destroy them and Wolverine would spawn. It doesn't happen now. He banishes them, which is like a different term. But for a while, he would pull like X-23 or like Wolverine, and it's like, damn, I just helped that dude. You know? Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No. You're good. No, yeah, Cable's good just because it's informative. If you get a leg up on your opponent, then you have a much, percentages are better and, or more in your favor at that point. So yeah, Cable's a solid pick. I dig it.
Hey, thanks. I appreciate that. That's a real Marvel Snap player, not like this dude who takes a break for 3 years and then says, Cable?
Cable?
I know.
Well done.
Damn it,
the information part is great. That for sure is worth it.
That's all you got to say about Cable, Brian?
That's about it, yeah.
Man, his feelings are hurt. I can tell.
I know him. In that movie.
He was good in that movie, Deadpool and Domino.
2.
Oh, Deadpool 2, that's right.
Yeah.
Deadpool and Juggernaut.
All right, we on to my number 3?
Yeah. We are.
Okay. I think I'm going to do a little switcheroo.
Oh, dude, it's against the rules.
Is it?
No,
Well, we haven't mentioned this card,
it's
so
not
it's not
against
like
the
I'm...
rules. No, it's not against the rules, Ryan. You're safe.
All right. This is an annoying card, and I feel like it got used on me more than I used it, but I still liked it. And that is Professor X. He
Nice.
seems to have been nerfed, though.
He has been
Yes.
nerfed.
Yeah. Originally, it was an ongoing. This lane is just shut down, 100%. You
Mhm.
can't do anything. And now it's moving is the only way to add or remove a card from here. So that you can definitely move a lot of different cards.
Move
And
decks
move
were
is
recently
current
buffed.
meta. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a little
Yep.
disappointing, but it's still a cool card. For I'm sure a variety of other reasons, especially if you're not playing against someone who's moving constantly, that could secure a lane for you, and that's huge when you only need that many. And it's Professor X. I mean, one of the greats. So that was always
Yeah.
a fun card to play.
To me, my X-Men. That's my
Exactly.
Professor X impression.
Is that your best Patrick Stewart, or that's your
No,
best,
that's like the cartoon X-Men.
Okay.
Yeah, no, Patrick
I was gonna
Stewart.
say.
No, God.
So now you have to do Patrick Stewart.
Now you have to do Patrick Stewart.
I can't. I would not disrespect the man.
You just
like
have to
that.
say his name.
Make it so.
There you go. That was pretty
Oh,
good.
thank you.
There you
Thank
go. That's
Patrick
good.
Stewart.
That's good. Patrick
So I will
Stewart.
say I loved. I almost said I loved Patrick Stewart.
He's back
But I
in the
do.
meta with Oblivion.
That's true, but I loved Professor X, and I had him in a deck that was like a self-created mishmash of cards that worked well together, and I really am upset that they nerfed him because I felt like he was never overpowered. He didn't need a nerf. With Professor X being like a 5/3 power,
Right.
Yeah.
it was always a read of like, damn, like if they play a 5/10 or like a 5, even if they play like Iron Man, right? Like I'm screwed. You would always have that weight, that decision to play Professor X and which lane to play him in. And if you like the tension of if your opponent played the right card, it would be for nothing because you couldn't play in that lane again either.
Yeah.
So I think that's changed now because you have cards like War Machine and blah, blah, blah. I don't know if War Machine changes Professor X, though. I'm not sure if it's affecting that like at all. But and then you can have move cards move in.
You
and
can
everything.
play anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that kind of sucks too. And War Machine was a meta for a while, but yeah, I missed the days of like OG Professor X. I think it was a very like cool, useful card for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The play with Professor X was to get Daredevil out on turn 2 because Daredevil would allow you to see what your opponents play on turn 5. And if you've thrown priority at that point, you get to see what your opponent plays and you're like, oh, you played over here? Cool. I'm going to play Professor X over here and lock you down from this and secure this for me. Like that was the meta play for most of the beginning 6 months of this game.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Especially if there was like a lane that they neglected and like still neglected on turn 5. He was like the pre-Galactus for like to less effect. You know what I mean? Because it was like one lane.
Yeah.
But yeah. Good pick.
Right on. Yeah, it's
Thank you.
Solid pick with Professor X. All right. My number 2, right? That's where we're at, number 2. So
we are in the real shit now, dude. These are like
We're
the
in the
real
real shit,
cards.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So when you get like your monthly recaps, right? And I always read through mine, you get to see like your cube rate and what card you played the most, what card you upgraded the most, or what location was your hot location that you won at and whatever. This card consistently is always my most played card. It's not my number 1, but she is my number 2, and that's Magic. Magic is an on reveal, replace this location with Limbo, and does not work after turn 5. Limbo will make the game go from 6 turns to 7. So you get a 7th turn with 7 energy, and it just gives you an extra turn to kind of pull off some crazy ass combos. Like I usually run her in like a destroy deck, so I could get out like a null on turn 6, hopefully in a lane by himself, and then on turn 7 I throw down like hopefully a pretty buffed up Deadpool in one lane, and then Arnim Zola the null, so I just double that
Oh yeah,
power,
it
and I can
doubles the
get
power.
null up to
Yeah,
like
that's clutch
yeah,
move.
up to like
Yeah.
120, power or something crazy
Yeah.
like that. So yeah, but she fits in like a lot of surfer decks too. Like to have an extra turn, I think is really fun and beneficial to the game. So yeah, I love Magic. She's one of my favorite cards, and she clearly, like I said, she's my most played card most of the time when I get those monthly recaps. So yep, my number 2 is Magic.
Works in a lot of decks. Another one that works in a whole lot of decks. Like if you're running a negative deck and you're waiting for that combination of Mr. Negative to Jane Foster, like Magic will always give you that extra turn to pull it,
Yeah.
They've changed the language on that one because it used to just straight up say, we're going to give you a turn 7. So now it's changing a location. That's interesting.
Well, no, so she was always they just switched the kind of wording a little bit. She was always something that didn't activate after turn 5. You couldn't play her on turn 6, even from the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think the location change was not part of it, if I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, that could also change like that location. If it was something negative, then it could make it just like, okay, well, this is limbo now.
True.
Yeah.
Don't ever try to play it where card text is disabled.
Yep.
Sure.
Yep.
Don't play any cards there.
Well, yeah, unless you have some of those negative
Hulk works there.
Yeah, Red Skull works there. Like there are plays that work there for sure. Starbrand, like you mentioned, John.
I just gave away my number 1 card. Oh well.
Oh, Hulk smash, Hulk smash. So I've
Hulk
heard.
smash.
So I've heard. Well, what's a good feeling? Before John
Galactus.
Oh. Yes, it is a good feeling actually. But before John Arnim Zola's his null, I'm just going to go ahead and drop this bad boy to ruin his plans because power must be controlled. And of course, Shang-Chi. I am speaking about Shang-Chi.
Oh, I knew he was going to come up.
Dude, this guy, you talk about feelings. You talk about feelings while you play a card, though. There are few cards that it's just like you thought, buddy. You thought you had me. But I got Shang-Chi. And the cool thing is it's a 4-cost 3 power, so you could always play another card with him most of the time. If you have like a good 1-cost card especially turn 6 or turn 7 when you're trying to Arnim Zola your boy. Not today, But that's like one of the best applications of it. Like when people trying to Arnim Zola a Venom or like a Null or like it's just like one of the best applications for Shang-Chi. But there are so many others. There really are. Like you have Ares decks and all those big boy archetypes where it's like, people can do this Sauron to Red Skull and like you said, you have a lot of big cards played, but it's like, well, if you put too many of them in one lane, like I got you, buddy. Shang-Chi just has some great uses. He is an on reveal, destroy all enemy cards here that have 10 or more power. It can be frustrating against certain decks that have like 9 powers. It's like, oh, you're so close. Like, I just want to take you out, but I can't.
Well, he used to be 9 power too, used to destroy 9 power, and then they buffed it up to 10. Yeah.
Yeah. They nerfed him by buffing it up to 10. Exactly. But Shang-Chi, man, since this is another early card you get. So this has been years of enjoying the benefit of playing Shang-Chi and being the frustration that Brian experiences when he's playing. But he's so useful and he's clutch and he works in a lot of decks. Like if you're having a control deck, you probably should throw Shang-Chi in there. It's always a good idea. And there's nothing like ruining the best laid plans in this game. As I mentioned with Shadow King, like if I had Shadow King on here, I have to have Shang-Chi on here because this is the destroyer of plans and strategies. And he is very good at what he does.
Oh yeah, it's a solid pick. And he is one of those just cookie cutter cards where it can fit in a lot of different archetypes and has many uses. If you are able to play out like a Zabu and discount him from 4 cost to 3 and get him out either earlier or be able to play multiple cards again on a turn 5 or 6 or 7 if you got Magic out there, it's a solid card. Really
even
good.
like Monster Island, like you get Monster Island where it's a 10 power monster on each side, right? and you're like,
Yep.
oh, I'll just throw Shang-Chi down there and win it. Because that's
Yeah.
probably what's going to happen. Like, as soon as you take out their monster, they're going to be like, well, why bother when I'm already down 13 points? I'll focus on these other 2 lanes, which makes your game a lot easier, you know?
Yep.
So yeah, just I'm surprised you hate this card, Brian. Did you use it?
No, it is one of those. I'm grateful when I have it, but I have been Shang-Chi'd so many times that I can't have
No.
it.
You live
'Cause
by the Shang-Chi, you die by the Shang-Chi.
This was one
Yeah.
that I was considering certainly for my list, but no, too much pain.
Well, I mean, I think too, for the longevity of like people like us who have been playing this for years and years and years, like you're getting cards get overlooked now. Like there is a meta.
Yeah.
There are, there's always new cards coming out, and like I want to pay some respect to cards that have been in the game for a while. I feel like Shang-Chi has never faltered from being one of those great counter cards. Like from day one, he has been a great counter card, and like I had to include him here.
Of course. Yeah,
Very
man.
good.
I respect it. Yeah.
All right. So my number 2 has already been mentioned, but not as an actual pick. But yes, Arnim Zola is one of my
Nice.
favorite cards to play.
Okay. Dig it.
It doesn't look like anything's changed here. On reveal, destroy one of your other cards here to copy it in or at the other locations. So great for what Black Panther, I think, was one of the main
Oh
ones.
yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
still a thing. That is still a thing.
Doubling.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, all of that kind of stuff was fun with him. Yeah, just a solid card. Is that character wise? I'm curious. Who is this?
This is Arnim Zola.
He started the Civil
has he
War,
been-
man.
Okay,
He did.
it's that
He was
character, right?
part of it. He didn't start the Civil
The
War.
guy with
He-
the glasses.
Yeah, he was
okay.
in Captain America, the First Avenger, as a physical being, and then
Okay.
essentially his
Yeah.
conscience was downloaded to computers for Captain America, and it very much followed the comic book. Like he is a downloaded conscious of a Hydra, like operative general, who has like a robot body and like a little camera on his head. It is a crazy character design. Like it's such a cool, and I love that. And I'm glad you brought this up because I did want to talk about the card art. Like I love that they bring up some of the different designs for him in the card art. Yeah, where he has like this big like holographic face in the center of his chest and like this little itty bitty like camera on the top of him.
Right.
And yeah, it's a good pick. He also can be pretty powerful in a negative deck. Like all of a sudden it's a 0/6, so he's not
Right.
not like completely rendering wherever you play him useless, or
Right.
or Wong. You use Wong to like a Black Panther to Azola, and like chances are you just won the game,
Sure.
Yeah.
unless somebody has
doing-
Shang-Chi.
Yeah, Zola to in a lane with like Iron Man, and so you send Iron Man to the other 2 locations, and it double their
Right.
power. Is also another fun
Yeah.
one with a negative deck. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I had cool card art for him. It's like this really grotesque one where it's just like flesh and meat, and then the
Oh,
little
yeah.
TV screen.
like Krang.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
It was Nola was the first card I ever got a black and white ink on, just because I kept
Oh, yeah.
upgrading him so much.
Which those are like not rare anymore. Now they have like bananas, Brian. You can get
No, they're
bananas
not.
as a
Yeah.
background for your card. You get like
Bananas.
all sorts of. They have like crazy
Oh,
rainbow confetti.
Keep it
Like
going.
it's different, and I'm glad that when they made that update to make all those adjustments to like how the card art is displayed. It's cool. It's cool.
All right,
now.
I got to play it then, I guess.
Yeah, you got to get the bananas. All right,
All right.
this is it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Any honorable mentions for us, John?
Before we get to our
Okay,
number one,
yeah,
that's where we are.
I got a
right? Like,
handful.
we are here.
Yeah.
We made it.
All right.
This is big.
This
This
is
is
where
big.
Ryan's
This is
gonna
our
play some
favorite
music.
Marvel Snap card. Dude, I mean, I'm saying I'm not kidding how excited I was when you picked this list. Like I'm not joking about that. I feel like
Yeah.
we don't get to talk about Marvel Snap often enough. And it's a game I really enjoy, but I also really enjoyed talking about it. Oh,
it's
We've
a
had
fun
an
so-
game.
episode on it before, I believe.
we did do an episode on it before, I believe. But if you want to talk about Marvel Snap, you could join our Discord. We still have the Snapchat channel
We're on
where we
Snapchat.
talk about Marvel Snap.
All right. So
Few
one
games
of
have gotten
my
their own channel.
yeah, a few games have gotten their own channel. Yeah. All right. So one of my honorable mentions has actually already been mentioned, and it's Professor X. And I put him on the list because he was just, again, it's one of those like pull one, pull two cards, one of the early ones you get. And I do miss that lockdown kind of deck type where you throw him in with like Storm, who would used to just shut down another location and that type of thing. Like, I wish lockdown decks would kind of come back, especially with, Move just got 4 brand new cards a couple of weeks ago. So the Move meta is absolutely insane.
I
And to
hate
have
Move.
yeah,
Oh.
especially a card like Professor X to just lock down a location and okay, your cards can't go anywhere or you can't come here. Like going back to his original ability would be fun. So Professor X is one. Another one that I'm going to mention here has been nerfed basically because his power or his cost is now 6. But Taskmaster used to be a very fun card to play as a 5 cost
Oh, yeah.
because he would copy the power of whatever the previous card was. So that the play used to be like Shuri on turn 4 into a Red Skull, who at the time was 14 power. So you just doubled Red Skull to 28, and then you'd play Taskmaster on turn 6 and have 28 power in another location. Or I would run Taskmaster in like a destroy deck and just get Deadpool up to like 24 power or something and play Deadpool in one lane and then Taskmaster somewhere else. But now that they've made him a 6 cost, it's not as easy to play him. So Taskmaster
will
is another one for me.
Give a quick shout out to Taskmaster. And I've always thought this. I think it's one of the coolest costume designs in comic books.
Dude,
Like, I'm just throwing that out there. Like
Yeah.
the skull mask, he's got the white with the orange and the blue, like the colors, like, oh, it's just good.
Yeah.
You know,
Like
the
a
shield
medieval
and the
Ghost
sword,
Rider.
like a sword and shield. Who's a sword and shield guy in comic books? You know what I'm saying? Nobody that looks as cool as Taskmaster.
That's for sure. And then my third one is a card that I'm surprised neither one of you have mentioned, but this was me getting into my inner goblin a few times. Being able to change the game because you've turned off a location or can manipulate locations is always fun to me. So my other shout out here is Legion, which turns all 3 locations into the location that you played him on. So you could have 3 negative zones, you could have 3 limbos, 3 whatever,
Or
kind
take
of play
limbo
around with
away
that.
on turn 6.
Take limbo away on turn 6. I did that a million times. So Legion was such a fun card to play for sure.
Oh, I agree.
Brian, did you ever
not
play Legion?
I have never seen this card before.
Okay.
Oh, it's like a 5/7 too, so he's no slouch,
Yeah.
Yeah, he's packing some power, and to be able to turn off locations or manipulate it in an advantageous way for you and disadvantageous for your opponent, always fun. So, moving right along now into my number 1 card. It's the card most hated in Marvel Snap for a while. It's Galactus. No, I'm only kidding. It's not Galactus.
That's
It's
okay.
not Galactus. No. So my favorite archetype for a long time, ever since this card came out, it's what I've gotten to infinite the most with. It's High Evo. I play it so much. There's so many different types of archetypes within High Evo. So High Evolutionary, at the game start, you unlock the potential of all your cards with no abilities. So you have cards like the Hulk or Misty Knight or Cyclops, and when you have High Evo in your deck, it unlocks their secret abilities. So High Evo decks are usually kind of tailored around being able to save energy each turn. And so if you play off curve and play kind of a turn behind, your cards kind of get buffed with that. And there was like a toxic version of Evo where you got to use stuff like Hazmat and Luke Cage and maybe even a Wong in there too to kind of double up the Hazmat. And then there was just like complete power output with High Evo too, where you use something like with Abomination or a She-Hulk, like She Infinite was like a huge one where you could play magic on turn 3. And then on turn 6, you just kind of not play anything. She-Hulk then gets, down to 0 cost, 10 power. And then because you didn't play a card, you get to play Infinite as well. So 20 power in one lane, 10 in another. It was just such a fun archetype to play. I love High Evo. Still, it's not in the meta anymore because so many different decks overpower it, but High Evo will forever and always be my favorite archetype, I think. So
this is a great pick for sure. I did not include High Evo, but I was running an Evo deck for a while, and I love that it's like, so I play board games, and like, there's like machine building board games where you're kind of putting the pieces together, and then you just kind of sit back and you get to see like everything you built operate, right? And that's what a High Evo deck is. Like when you put down, Misty Knight to Sunspot, and you're just watching Misty Knight buff Sunspot getting the energy for the extra energy left on the table, and then you're able to use that to like get out Cyclops, which is only more beneficial for extra energy because now you're sapping theirs and you're still getting buffed. And it's like you get to watch all the pieces kind of work together and move together to build this like beautiful machine, It's like a machine building game. Yeah. And then you throw in Thing, and he debuffs and depowers more of the opponent's cards, and that'll only make Abomination even cheaper. It's like everything just worked together so well in a High Evo deck. Yeah, it's really a superb pick for sure.
I made a deck that utilized Marvel Boy, which would power at the end of each turn. All your 1-cost cards get an additional 1 power. So to continue to buff up like a Sunspot and a Misty Knight was always fun as well. So yeah, I will always love High Evo, just being able to play off curve, and it was that archetype where I could just play the game and not have to really think about too much. I like your analogy there with the parts kind of all working together. It was just fun to just play off curve, watch all your stuff work the way it's supposed to, and then just have an absolutely huge turn 6 and just lay a ton of power on the board. So yeah,
it's great. It's a beautiful thing. All right,
I did respond to that card somewhat. That was one of the later cards when I was ending my time with Marvel Snap, but yeah.
It made Brian quit the game.
I wish
it did.
I wish they had more variants like this, but the one variant that I use for him is actually the comic book cover one. My camera's not picking it up very well, but the comic book cover one was really cool. I'm glad I pulled that one. Yeah.
They did that with a few other characters, and it is a cool variant where it's like that old like retro 70s comic cover, right? It's neat. Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys ready for my honorable mentions?
I am.
Of course, man.
So this card is actually Galactus. I'm of course going to mention Galactus. Galactus I loved in my Erisham decks. Like anytime I pulled Galactus and could pull it off, I was like, oh, this is going to be so good. Like it was always just like, I didn't even care if I won, because he used to be like a 5/6, right? Or with Erisham, you could get him out a turn early. You could still get him out on turn 5. So I don't even care if I have like an Alioth to counter whatever they're putting out there on turns like 6. It didn't matter. It just didn't matter. It was like, I just want to see everything burn to the ground. Like that's
playing
really
anymore.
No, because it and the thing is, it's the feeling of playing the card. It had from day one this super cool, unique animation where it would like pull out like the planet, and you would just see him see him destroy everything. It was so cool. So it's a 6/6 now, and on reveal, if you're winning this location, and this is your only card here, destroy all other locations. So there were some caveats to make it work, but It did end up becoming a very easy read. I still feel like to this day it's an easy read. Like I know when someone's playing Galactus to this day because it's just so ingrained in my head. I'm like, they are playing like weird cards, like they're playing a Nebula to try to get me to play somewhere else, right? They're playing all these cards to like bait me to other locations, and I'm like, okay, I better make sure I have like 7 power over here. That's all I gotta do. 6 or better over there, and I'm good to go.
Yeah, the play was like Yondu on turn 1 to mill a card, then Wolverine on turn 2, who is going to die and come back with 2 extra health. And then if you saw the wave on turn 3 to discount it to a 4 cost, you're like,
Mm,
well, shit, here comes Galactus. And
yeah.
then you'd
Oh,
play
wave.
the
Maybe
original
Galactus.
you'd play the original Spider-Man on turn 5, which wouldn't allow your opponent to play a card there on turn 6. And that was just like
Yep.
the rage quit freaking
Oh yeah.
play there. It was so bad.
Oh yeah. I loved it. Except I didn't have Galactus at the time. I really didn't love it. Like that was tough to be on the receiving end of. But
Yeah.
you make do. You make do. So another one of my honorable mentions, that's not even my number one, is Sarah, who's now, as John mentioned, a 5/5. Cards in your hand cost one less. Just so totally useful. And then it's a counter to things like Sarah is my other honorable mention, Enchantress, who is a
Enchantress.
powerful
Yeah.
4 at 4/6 and can remove the abilities from all ongoing cards here. I think, there's so many ongoing decks now with Moonstone and Goliath and all these new cards that are brought in that like Enchantress to Absorbing Man is legit. Like it could work
Yeah.
against a lot of decks. It just has to be the right ones. But Enchantress is a very good card and has always remained a good card in a counter deck. My number 9, I have kind of 2 cards I want to shout out because I don't hear people talk about them a lot. These are like the unsung heroes, I think, and it's Red Guardian and Lady Deathstrike. So
Oh,
Red
dude.
Guardian is a 3/3. On reveal, he afflicts the lowest power enemy card at the location with -2 power and removes its text. This is extremely good against a lot of
It's so
decks. Like,
powerful for 3 cost. Yeah.
oh, forget Dracula's gone. Like Morbius early
Luke
is gone.
Cage gone. Yeah.
Luke Cage gone, and it's frustrating, for your opponent. I think that there's just a lot of cards that this is like, oh, you don't have to worry about that deck and that lane anymore. That and because it can counter what deck some decks are built on. It's even more useful. Another one is Lady Deathstrike. Destroy each power here with 3 or less power. It's a little bit later that you can play her because it's a 5/7. But same effect. Like if somebody is using that Apocalypse deck and they have Dracula out, it's like Dracula doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yep.
Like you thought you had this big post turn 6, like turn the tide of the game, but you don't. And she's really good at like nullifying things like that. And then the other honorable mention I have to give credence to is Devil Dinosaur. This was the first huge 5-turn card. Like I mean, and it works well with like pretty powerful low cost cards, for a time. Like Coulson is a 3/4, but a 3/4 is not bad. You could get that out with something else. Fury's a 4/6. Like it works with cards that are pretty powerful. And if you could get Devil Dinosaur out on 5, Taskmaster on 6, or Devil Dinosaur to Zola is legit. Like that's a legit combo.
Yep.
And you could get Devil Dinosaur at 15 power at 2 locations with Zola. And I mean, this is the first card that got me to Infinite, so I had to mention it. I just think
that was your card for.
It was
for
my
good
card
long
for a very
while.
long time. I still play Devil Dino, and like it still holds its own, which says something, I think. But my number one card. If I tell you the cost and power, do you think you could guess it? I bet John might be able to. Brian, you might be able to
I
too.
probably could. Yeah.
But if you've been paying attention, I like cards that make you feel good when you play them, right? I like cards that are those like play this card, your opponent retreats, or like play this card on turn 6 to completely turn the tide, right? And I think for the longest time, this card had that potential, and I feel like it's kind of gotten away from it, but I have to mention how much fun it is to play. And it's a 3 cost, 2 power card. It's Rogue.
Yeah.
It's got to be Rogue. And I think Rogue's better than Enchantress. And I know that's probably unpopular, but I think the fact that you could turn a weakness into your strength is so cool. Sure. And like she flies over and like takes it. And this is really good. And it was good in the early game, the early years of the game for a very long time, because if the person's playing Iron Man and they think they're going to mystique that Iron Man, no, that's my Iron Man, dude.
Yeah.
Like you got that all wrong. If a person had like Claw out and they were winning the middle lane only because they had Claw, that's my middle lane now, dude. Like
now it's mine.
And I love that it's a lower cost card. And when if the person's running a toxic deck, which was popular for a long time, like, oh, Luke Cage is over here, I'm Luke Cage, bro. Like
Cool.
you
I'm
don't get to
stealing
use
it.
that
Yep.
anymore. Now you have all the negative effects and I have all the positive effects. And
Yeah.
it was that great turn 6 play. And it was a card you could sit on. Like as soon as someone played Luke Cage and they're just hazmatting you and like junking you and like doing all
hate hazmat.
but like you could just sit on it knowing, okay, I'm gonna play Rogue on turn 6. Like you think you've got this, you're snapping. And I think this is the card that won the most 8-cube games for me, like single-handedly. If I had to pin it on one card, because it's the ultimate defeat of confidence. For a long time it was, and I like I said, I feel like it has kind of gotten away from that because people now, there are ongoing decks where there are just like 12 ongoing cards out there and Rogue can only do it to one of them, you know? So I feel like Super Scroll has taken over a little bit with that. But I think this was like an 8-cube winner in the early game when there weren't as many ongoing cards. And someone would play one and just be like, oh, I got you, snap. And you're like, no, all right. Like you're immediately snapping
I'll
because
snap
you
back.
already know.
Yep.
Yeah, you already know.
Yep.
Like you're handing me 8 cubes because I got Rogue and like you're not expecting it. So I think it's one of the most underrated cards. And it is random, right? But like you could get somebody still to this day who's using what is it? God, I can't think of that. Like, what's the apocalypse archetype? It's not coming to my mind right now. But anyway, discard deck. Thank you. And like they got Morbius, and they're sitting on
Morbius,
12 power Morbius, and all of a sudden that 12 power Morbius is a 0 power Morbius, and because they used cards like Moon Knight, who destroyed cards in your deck, all of a sudden Rogue is like a 3/6. And Morbius is now a 2/0 exactly. So I think just a totally underrated, under the radar card. And I thought, man, this is kind of garbage until I really started using it. And I think Rogue had a lot of potential. I wish, there weren't so many decks that just like bombard you with ongoing cards to where she's kind of rendered useless in a lot of ways. But I had such a good time pulling out Rogue and like one other 3-cost card on turn 6 and just like winning games that way.
Dude, Rogue is such a solid pick. Yeah, like I think now, and you just kind of mentioned it, I do think Enchantress is stronger because it hits all cards, like yours and your opponents, where Rogue only will get one. And so many people are playing like Sam Wilson plus Ant-Man plus Iron Man, and so you got 4 ongoing cards in one lane, and then you throw Rogue out there and you probably get the Ant-Man. I'm like, cool, I don't have 4 other, I don't have a full lane, so I don't get the benefits of it. But dude, it's a solid pick. I used to run it in my high Evo deck because for a while a lot of people were throwing in Luke Cages to
and you could Rogue the Rogue.
And you could Rogue the Rogue, exactly. Rogue the Rogue, or Rogue
I've done that.
their Luke Cage. Yeah, so that was always fun. Or try to Rogue their Mystique if they try to double up on Iron Man or Dark Hawk or whatever. Yeah, Rogue's a solid pick, man. It didn't make my list or honorable mentions, but I respect it. That's a very fun
I don't think it
card.
would make a lot of people's lists. Like I just don't think it's that kind of card where a lot of people would like even consider it for something like this. Like we're only getting to pick 5 cards, but like I think it's that unexpectedness that I appreciate too. Like even when you play it, people wouldn't expect it, and it would come out of nowhere. And I think I wish there wasn't these Goliath, Moonstone, Captain America decks now where it's like, oh my god, like there are just too many ongoing cards in play, and so I think she could benefit from like a buff a little bit, like maybe stealing all. But that's Super Scroll then, which
that's
and Super Scroll
at that point.
I don't like as much as before too, and it kind of pigeonholes you to like a single lane of everything that they're stealing from the ongoing opponent cards. Rogue.
Brian, do you know what Moonstone does?
No, that you guys keep saying that. I don't know that one.
So Moonstone is a 4-cost 6 power, and her ongoing ability is she has the ongoing abilities of all your 1, 2, and 3 cost cards in the same lane. So you could double up an Ant-Man and a Mystique that's doubled up an Iron Man or something like that. Like she will have or like a lot of people will run it in like an Ultron Patriot, so she'll double up the Patriot even further.
Patriot, that I remember using that all the time with Ultron.
So that she's a very powerful card.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, that was one deck that I had constantly was the Ultron and Patriot, and
It's a
Yeah.
good
that
one.
was a fun
Blue
one.
Marvel, right? Like, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, my honorable mentions.
Okay.
I have Goose.
Runner ups.
Oh, Goose is good. Goose is
Goose,
good.
Yeah.
Goose is
Oh, dude,
annoying.
Goose is solid. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, all that control stuff. I feel like that's one that's been used on me, and it's very irritating. I put Doc Ock on here because, and that one's changed. It used to just pull all the
It used to fill the
cards.
location. Yeah.
Right, right, and now it looks like it's pull the lowest power card from your opponent's hand.
Yeah,
So
dude, the
Yeah.
old Doc Ock though is where it's at. That was like
yeah,
that was
That
just
was
so
fun.
brutal.
yeah,
So
it's just
Especially
brutal.
in a
like we're
Galactus
shutting this
deck.
down.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Right. Wolverine loved
Aw.
just destroying him over and over again. He worked in a lot of good places. Um, but yeah,
I
that's
just
about all I
awed
got
you.
for
I
that.
just went, aw. And it wasn't because
Yeah.
like how adorable picking Wolverine. It was because like I wanted to. I just never really had been a destroy deck guy. And so it's not one of my favorite cards. So
I
I like
gotcha.
couldn't do it. But I was like,
Yeah.
oh cool. I'm
Yeah.
glad Wolverine got a shout out.
Yeah.
Destroy decks were fun. I mean,
Oh
it
yeah.
was a little tricky sometimes, but yeah, that one was good. But my number one card, of course, gotta be Agatha. Just play the game for me.
It's
Don't want
Agatha
to do
all
it.
along.
Right.
Agatha Harkness. Yeah.
No. Uh, my actual card choice is the one that I used the absolute most, had the most fun with all the time. Ryan, I know I've used it on you before. I'm not sure if I ever won with it, but running my discard with Hella was
Oh
my
yeah.
absolute
Yeah.
favorite
Yeah.
thing to do all the time. It looks like she's been nerfed too. Currently, she's on reveal for each different cost among them. Resurrect a card you discarded to a random location. It used to be just bring them all, bring all the cards that
Yep.
you've
Bring them
discarded.
all back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was an
And
Oh, it
then
was such
incredible.
a punishing deck.
Yeah.
Such a punishing
They
deck.
they reworked her to all cards that are brought back now come back with, what was it, -2 power,
-2
-3, and so
power.
people are
Oh,
just
Well,
like,
really?
yeah,
they did that for a while, but I think it's
Oh, okay.
changed
yeah,
again. It's changed again.
I
yeah.
see. Yeah.
And so people just started running Luke Cage, and so okay, cool, you got Luke Cage out there, and all your cards come back with all their power. Now she's been changed again.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, it was such a menace,
Hella
dude.
discard
Freaking
was
Hella.
a pain in the ass for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
My
like Cat Blanket, right? Good actress.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
My favorite deck, and I
Kate
just did
Blanchett.
it because of the pun.
No, Cat Blanket. I
Uh,
think you're pronouncing it wrong, John.
Okay.
uh,
Cat Blanket.
this was
Yep.
my pun discard deck was Hella Carrier, because the Hella Carrier
Yep.
also, yeah, you discard that and you get
It's
some
very
just
clever.
random cards. So
Yep.
that was always fun. But yeah, you get those Infinauts out there. That was
Dude.
always a good way to do it.
Infinite, Iron Man, Black Cat's like a freebie because if you draw her into a player, she just disappears. You don't even need to like
Yep.
discard her from your hand. Oh man, it's so brutal.
But yeah, Hella,
Yeah.
love her. Played her a lot in Marvel Rivals as well. Just all of it's
Yeah.
lining up for me. It's just like, yes,
Ooh, okay.
love this.
Is it
love
like
this character?
okay? All right. Is that like your thing? You got a thing for it?
Maybe,
Look, I
maybe
gotta be
it's
honest. I'm not like a Kate Blanchett, and yeah, there you go, John. I said it the right way. I'm not like the biggest fan, but when she was in Thor Ragnarok, I was like, man, she is looking good. You know, she
Yeah.
was doing something for me there.
Just like
Is
green
that bad?
screen
Am I
guy.
allowed to say that? What? You're like, God, Ryan, don't say that. Sorry. I'm just,
No,
hey,
it's
I'm
perfect.
speaking from the heart. This whole episode, I've been speaking from the heart.
That's it. Yeah, Hella, man, I want to get. I wonder if it has all my decks and stuff from the past. It's got to, as long as I download it in the same thing. I don't know. I'll have to look.
Oh
into
yeah,
that.
yeah. If you use the same login, everything's there. All your old decks are there. Everything's there. Like it'll
Sweet.
be like you never left. And you could try the new
Beautiful.
card acquisition system. Have
It'll probably bombard me with new cards. Actually,
It would. Have we inspired you to play Marvel Snap again?
I might.
Like,
I might.
I love that.
You
for
would probably love the Khonshu discard meta right now.
You would.
Khonshu
Absolutely
is,
would.
is
Khonshu.
absolutely right up your alley.
I think if you made
that?
an effort to get Khonshu, you'd be happy.
Yeah, like
How do you
every
spell
time you
Khonshu?
discard KHONSHU.
HU. Yeah,
Okay,
you
here
got
we
it.
are.
Bless you.
And so every time he discards, he comes back more powerful, but then he'll bring back a card that's
Another
been
discarded card.
Yeah, with its power. So you could bring back like a 12 power Iron Man and just have 100 power on a lane or something crazy. Like, yeah, he can
If
be
you could like
absolutely
Blade
broken.
Khonshu on turn 1, and then Lady Sif Khonshu, like it's just gaining 4
Yeah.
power every time. And then when you play him, he spawns a different card you discarded, like with that power. So
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
pretty clutch, dude.
All right.
Yeah.
I need to buy that card.
You do. You should play again. I'm telling you, Marvel
Yeah.
Snap. It's a good game.
So
if you guys listening haven't gathered.
Yeah. They don't have the spotlight caches anymore. So every 120 levels, you get 3,000 of the tokens. And so 3,000 tokens is enough to buy a Series 4 card. Or you can just keep saving them. And now you get 50 tokens daily whenever you sign in too. So like they've, like Ryan was saying at the top, they've made card acquisition a lot better. This is the best it's been in the 3 years that the game has existed. So
I was so close to getting all the cards in the beginning. I was like 3 away or something. And
Dude,
then,
I remember.
The rate of them adding it was like, all right, well, this is getting away from me. There's no way I could keep up.
I remember you had all Series 4 almost.
Yeah.
I was like, what the heck? I'm so far away from that. Like, I feel like we've been playing the same. And you're like, no, dude.
No.
I live this.
I still don't have Hitmonkey or some other cards that were popular like 2 years ago.
Hitmonkey's cool. Hitmonkey's cool.
That was one you could buy. Like
Brian,
that was part of the season pass or whatever.
Brian baned me. You merely adopted the darkness. I was born in it.
The darkness.
I
was born.
Well, John, it's always fun, man. And talking about Marvel Snap is fun.
Hey, man. Come hang out in the Marvel Snap channel of the List Off Discord. Myself and Ryan are in there, plus Brian, Willie, Andrew from the FN Gamers. Like,
I answer if summoned.
Mikey Tabletop. Mikey
Tabletop.
There we go. Mikey Tabletop.
That's my boy.
He's the tippy top of the tabletop.
He sure is. If anybody was, it's him. Well, as always, guys, thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoy your next few weeks, and we'll see you next episode. Bye.
See ya.
See ya.